This is the ZCode Sports Betting Podcast. Are you struggling to find success betting sports? Tired of empty promises and scams handicapping services? Wondering why Vegas sports books become richer and richer and how you could win on sports too? This podcast is what the sports investing industry truly needs. An insider look into proven, successful strategies. ZCode Podcast is your crash course in sports investing that destroys popular misconceptions and provides invaluable sports prediction analysis tools that you can download for free. We outline insider winning systems from experts that make a living through sports investing and explain how you can do it too. Armed with the best tools in the industry and a proper mindset, sustaining profits is easier than ever before. Welcome to ZCode Podcast.
Hi guys, it's John, and thanks for listening to our new ZCode Sports Betting Podcast. It's actually our first episode. Really excited about this new thing. For many years, ZCode sports investors have been asking about it, and it's finally happening. I'm sure you guys saw the videos how professional sports bettors like Billy Walters are making fortunes betting sports and wondering if small guys can achieve the same success. Well, the quick answer is yeah, it is possible. There are no magic fixes, however. In the next episodes, I'll go with it through the process from A to Z on how you can become a professional sports investor. Yeah, you heard it right. We call it sports investing for a reason. It's no longer gambling when you bet professionally and follow money management plan and fully back-tested systems like ZCode. It's a business, and we treat it like a business. This is why we decided to create this podcast. ZCode Podcast is your crash course in sports investing, and it'll destroy popular misconceptions and provides invaluable sports prediction analysis tools that you can download for free on our website, ZCodesystem.com. That is ZCodesystem.com. Okay, we'll outline insider winning systems from experts that make a living through sports investing and explain how you can do it too. Armed with the best tools in the industry and a proper mindset, sustaining profits is easier than ever before. During the next episodes, we'll talk about 9 most common newbie mistakes and pitfalls and how you can avoid them. We'll destroy the popular myths about sports betting. You'll discover insider systems such as line reversals, fading the public, finding out where smart and sharp bettors are placing their bets, how to use sports predictors and oscillators, how to backtest the system, and how to build a profitable money management plan. We'll also cover popular sports such as baseball, hockey, basketball, football, and even horse racing, tennis, and soccer. We'll discuss what teams to bet on, what teams to avoid at all costs, and what teams are good to bet against. We will reveal the profitable systems that you can follow to win good money. I'm sure you guys will love it, so let's get started. Okay, today's first episode I'd like to devote to fresh MLB 2014 season and its preview. Together with Mark, professional MLB expert, we created a list that you can use as your guide for the season. You know, I love baseball season, and last season was the most profitable across any sport in my professional handicapping career. I can't express how excited we are for the season to start. But to help build anticipation, we'll be posting daily preseason predictions. This episode will break down the American and National League, and I hope you find it helpful. Let's start with American League East. 1. New York Yankees. Expected 92 wins, 70 losses. The Yankees are back. Well, sort of. Questions abound with Tex, Pineda, and Jeter recovering from injuries that caused fully lost seasons. But I think the Yankees have gone substantially better. The outfield might be the best in baseball, and if Jeter and Tex are healthy, the infield is serviceable. McCann is the upgraded catcher that the Yankees have needed since Posada got old, and the rotation looks solid. CC still is the ace by name, but I think Tanaka will anchor this stuff. If Pineda can perform, Nova can repeat his success. Kuroda has one more good year in him, and CC can be mediocre, but the Yankees have enough. I think they'll be very good this year, and may even win the division. 2. Boston Red Sox, expecting 90 wins, 72 losses. Who saw Boston coming last year? Wow, what a season. The coaching and pitching seemed to make all the difference, and their longtime clubhouse leaders finally corrected the Bobby V era. They lost their CF to the Yankees, but they're mostly the same team. Solid pitching and a decent lineup will have Boston competitive again. But they won't sneak up on anyone this year in the most competitive division in baseball. Remember, Boston Red Sox on the road is a very profitable trend. 3. Tampa Bay Rays, 85-77. The Rays are well coached. It's amazing what they do with such a grab bag of talent. I like Jennings, I like the rotation, but they keep losing arms. It looks like this year might be David Price's turn. Or not. Who knows with this team? Either way, I think with the way the Yankees reloaded and the way Boston played last year, the Rays are third best at best. 3. Baltimore Oracles, 85-77. I love Buck, but I have some serious doubts about the Orioles this season. I don't think they have the pitching, and I think they lay playoff caliber depth. They'll be good, but they won't have enough to compete at the top of this division. 5. Toronto Blue Jays, 77-85. The Jays can outslug anyone, but they still don't have the pitching to be competitive. If some of their bigger bats regress, or if the injury ninja attacks again, they're going to be a mess. Mostly, I think they'll be what they've been for a while, the weakest team in a stacked division. Okay, let's move on to AL Central. 1. Detroit Tigers, 95-67. Awesome lineup, solid pitching, maybe a weakness in the bullpen, but they're the best team in a mediocre division. 2. Cleveland Indians, 84-78. I like their pitching, I love their coach, but this team doesn't have enough to compete with the big boys in the American League. I think they'll be good again, but I don't think they'll steal a wild card spot like last season. I don't see where the runs will come from. 3. Kansas City Royals, 83-79. Every year I want the Royals to be good, and every year they aren't. I don't think this year will be any different. My heart says they have the lineup and some of the pitching to be competitive, but my mind says there's a losing culture here that won't soon end. Almost though, maybe. 4. Chicago White Sox, 70-92. How good is Chris Sale? Unfortunately, this team is terrible. 5. Minnesota Twins, 69-93. Ron's run in Minnie might be over if they don't provide some fresh talent. The Twins are a minor league team these days. Maybe they'll grow up this season, but it doesn't seem likely to me. Great bet against team. AL West. 1. Texas Rangers, 92-70. I like the Rangers. I love their lineup in a hitter's park, and I think they've got the pitching this year. I think they've got one of the worst coach teams in baseball, but I'm not sure if that'll matter. I think they'll take the AL West. Remember, Rangers playing at home is a very profitable trend. 2. LA Angels, 88-74. Was there a more disappointing team than the Angels last season? I think they'll bounce back. This team is too talented across the board to be so mediocre. I don't think they can possibly be so terrible twice. 3. Oakland Athletics, 84-78. I think the Athletics were an anomaly last season. I don't think they hit well enough to sustain that kind of winning. I love their rotation. I really think they can compete, but it's hard to win games 1-0 every time. I don't think they're a playoff team this year. 4. Seattle Mariners, 70-92. I hate you, Robinson Cano. I wish you nothing but pain and misery in Seattle. This prediction is the start of that. 2 pitchers, 2 former Yankees, and a garbage roster. This is not a playoff team. 5. Houston Astros, 60-102. This is the worst team in baseball. They've got one decent pitcher that would be a 4th starter on most legitimate teams, and a second baseman that can play, but this is not a good team. No chance. Perfect bet against team. Moving on to the National League. I've always been an American League guy. This year, in an unbiased and professional way, I just don't think the National League is nearly as competitive from top to bottom. I like a couple of teams, but mostly I think the elite will distance themselves quite easily from the abundance of mediocrity. Let's take a look. National League East. 1. Atlanta Braves. Expected 92 wins, 70 losses. The loss of Medlin for the season is going to hurt an otherwise stacked pitching rotation, and the lineup is filled with the usual suspects. I think Haywood and Freeman are good enough to carry this team, but I had much higher hopes when the rotation was healthy. They'll be good, but can they compete with the Dodgers for the pennant? I'm not sure they have nearly the same depth or top-end talent in any facet of the game. 2. Washington Nationals, 90-72. This team seems like the trendy pick, but I have them slated for a wild card spot behind the Braves. Something about this team never seems to come together. They'll be good, and they'll like their rotation, but I think their victories will be more a product of weak division than actual World Series talent. 3. Philadelphia Phillies, 81-81. You know, I've got the Phillies finishing right about .500. They have some clubhouse problems, and their lineup is rarely ever healthy over the last half-decade. I don't see how the same players will suddenly turn this around. I like some of their pitching, but I don't think they'll be competitive this season. 4. New York Mets, 75-87. Curtis Granderson will get to see how the other half of New York lives out on the island, and I don't think he's gonna like it. I think the Mets have their coach, but they don't have talent. This team needs a rebuild, but first they need to find the money to build a baseball team in New York. Sad, but they've essentially become a small market team in the biggest baseball market in the world. Oops. 5. Miami Marlins, 63-99. I think they can avoid 100 losses with the young talent they seem to have an endless supply of in Miami, but the Marlins have a long way to go before they're legitimately competitive. National League Central. 1. St. Louis Cardinals, 95-67. Last year, the NL Central was home to one of the most exciting playoff races in recent memory, with 3 teams finding their way into the postseason. The Cards surged to the top of the pack, and I think that's where they'll stay. From top to bottom, this is the best team in the NL Central. I don't expect the Pirates and Reds to be able to give the Cardinals problems again in 2014. 2. Pittsburgh Pirates, 91-71. I like it when the Pirates are competitive. It makes me happy when teams are able to rebuild. Here, pitching and a few dynamic bats make the Pirates a legitimate playoff team again this year. They seem to have overcome a culture of losing, and I'm excited to see if they can keep winning. They're not the Cardinals, but they're very talented and are still getting better. Who knows what the ceiling is for this team? 3. Cincinnati Reds, 85-77. The Reds are reworking their team. Again, clubhouse issues and a change in the coaching regime seem to indicate a step backwards. They're getting older. I'm not sure they have enough depth to sneak into the playoffs like last year. I think they'll fall short this year. 4. Milwaukee Brewers, 73-89. The Brewers haven't really improved their roster after a mediocre campaign in 2013. They built this team around Ryan Braun, and right now, despite his numbers, that appears to be a mistake. He's back after a suspension cost him last year, but I don't think the Brewers will compete. 5. Chicago Cubs, 64-98. It's been a long time since the Cubs won. I think it will continue to be a long time until the Cubs win. I don't like this team's chances in 2014. However, it's a perfect bet against team. NL West. 1. Los Angeles Dodgers, 98-64. I really like the Dodgers. They have plenty of pitching, a solid bullpen, and probably the best lineup in the National League. Add in a weak division where no other team finished above .500 last season, and the Dodgers should coast to the playoffs. I think they'll be dominant this year, and with a few games already under their belts, I think they've shown that they mean business in 2014. Good team to bet on through the season. 2. San Francisco Giants, 80, 82. I think the only reason the rest of this division will have respectable records is because they get to play one another for a large portion of their games. The Giants aren't a good team, but they might be the best of the rest in the NL West. 3. Arizona Diamondbacks, 79, 83. I think the D-backs have some young talent, but they don't have enough to compete for a playoff spot. Oh, they'll hang around, but they won't scare anyone. Remember, D-backs at home is a very profitable trend. 4. Colorado Rockies, 78-84. The Rockies seem to have improved their rotation enough to be respectable, and the four-man nonsense of a couple years ago seems to have passed. I like a few pieces here, like Tulo and Cargo, but they're incomplete. 5. San Diego Padres, 73-89. The Padres don't have a complete team either, but they also don't have any big stars. This is a weak team that in another division probably wouldn't win 65 games. Remember, Padres at home in burning hot status is a very profitable trend. That's it. Hope you find this MLB guide helpful. Questions, comments, disagree? Feel free to sound off. We love your feedback and miss discussing baseball. Let me know in your comments. Remember, inside ZCode VIP Club at ZCodeSystem.com, you'll find over 15 back-tested, profitable baseball systems that you can follow this season. Last season, we made over $45,415 of profit. Remember, only proven systems can bring you long-term profit on sports investing. I'll cover some of them in the next episodes of our podcast. Thank you for listening, and see you soon.
Thank you for listening to our ZCode Sports Betting Podcast, where insider systems, secrets, and tools are revealed to help you win on sports betting. If you have a comment or question, make sure to visit us at www.zcodesystem.com. Download our free sports prediction tools and join our VIP club to follow winning systems from people who make a living betting sports professionally. And don't forget to subscribe on iTunes. See you next time.